name's Will Erickson from Momentum Academy. In this short video, I'm going to talk about the question, how dynamic is Bubble.io? And am I going to learn Bubble and then hit this wall of limitations where I can't move any further, 3 months into my project? This is exactly the question that I was asking when I found Bubble. I was doing a startup program called Founder Institute. One of the colleagues in that program told me about Bubble and I checked it out. I went, wow, this is cool. This landing page really is speaking to me. I need to learn this tool. But quickly I had this fear of, I'm going to invest 1, 2, 3 months in learning this, like I have with other products, other tools, and I'm going to hit this wall. I'm going to get stuck. I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. And so I set out on a journey to answer this question for myself. What are the limitations? Which walls am I going to hit? And so in that search, I had some time pressure. I was in this program. So I went and enrolled in a Bubble.io bootcamp, which Bubble used to run until the middle of 2022. And I also did some one-on-one mentoring with an instructor, and I got all of my questions answered. But the first thing I really wanted to know was, what sort of user interface can you build? How flexible is it? Is it just like a website building thing where you can drop on components and you can type in some text, but it's more or less just a template? What is the level of flexibility? I spent about 2 or 3 weeks exploring that. I came up with some designs I wanted to do. I implemented them and I was really surprised. I could build almost anything in the UI of Bubble. So that's the design tab, and I was really, really super impressed by that. The second thing I wanted to understand was, what about the database? So, I was from a database background. I had a good understanding of what a database can do, and I wanted to know, can it do what I think it should be able to do? So I started mapping out my database on paper. I got this big A3 art book and a pencil and a rubber, and I just started mapping out different database entities and then implementing them in Bubble. Can I do a one-to-many relationship? Can I have this parent-child data structure? How do I handle lists? All these questions were being answered as I played with it. And again, I was really pleasantly surprised at the level of flexibility of Bubble's database. And I can confidently say now that pretty much whatever a relational database can do, Bubble can do. There are some ways you would do it slightly differently, but for the most part, you get the same power as most web applications running on an SQL style, SQL style relational database. The last thing I wanted to check out was how to extend Bubble. And so Bubble has a sort of expansive library of plugins that Bubble makes, also the community makes, and that was quite reassuring. But I also found out that you can use things like the HTML element. You can create your own custom plugins. You can put your own tags into the headers, into the page. You can write your own JavaScript. So it does have that ability to cross over into code wherever you might need it. And an example of where that might be the case is if you're building out a custom UI for maybe something that's highly draggable, or something that's like a canvas where you have options like shapes and lines and things you're dropping on and marking up with text, things like that. It might make sense to take out of Bubble, to build in code, and then to use that as a widget or a plugin within your Bubble app. So those are 3 of the things that I tried out. Since then, I've also done a lot of work with API integrations, so connecting out to different systems. And I've found almost no use cases where I faced a hard limitation. I've also done a lot of work with backend workflows and manipulating data. There is a little bit of a limitation around bulk manipulation of data. I know Bubble is working on some things like looping at the moment to overcome that. But for the most part, in a transactional web application, you don't need that sort of functionality. So, for most things that a standard web application needs to do, Bubble has you covered, and you can do it with almost the full flexibility of code. Where you can't, then you can expand it using code. So thanks so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful. We run a program called Momentum Academy, and we teach Bubble. We teach it to founders, to developers, to people wanting to build a business. So check that out, momentumacademy.tech. I hope to see you and meet you in our program.